Good morning. I'm here for an update on my videos about microscopic colitis and my journey. Not a whole lot has changed since my last update. I was given 2 medications for bile acid malabsorption, BAM, which is a condition that a lot of people, I think it said 40% online of people with microscopic colitis also have this other issue in the small intestine. And it was only when that was diagnosed and I was put on a medication for that I started to get some real relief from, and that would be from having diarrhea all day and spasms and just that interruption in my life. So I'm doing well on that, but I still can't eat a whole lot of variety of foods, and I'm sure that's due to the microscopic colitis. I have a nutritionalist, Clemmy, who is out of London, and she's available online. I found her on Instagram, and she's been the most support for me of anything that I've had other than switching to a better GI who diagnosed the other condition, the bile acid malabsorption. But even when I go to my new GI, yes, they were great because they did diagnose this other issue. But when it comes to ongoing problems with the microscopic colitis, meaning I can't eat very many things without my condition flaring up, she's not a whole lot of help with that. She kind of goes back to treating the bile acid malabsorption and recommending the low FODMAP diet, which my nutritionalist already had recommended. That's the only reason she didn't recommend it. I tried to talk to her about diet, and I said my nutritionalist recommended low FODMAP, and she's like, oh yeah, that's the latest research. We definitely recommend that to all of our patients, pretty much all of them, because it's a GI doctor, if they're having any issues. So I have been doing that. I used to have a lot of little applesauce pouches for snacks, which was one of my main snacks. I could just grab out of my purse, take it on a hike, whatever, in the middle of the night, reach over and grab one off my bedside table. Well, that's something I've stopped because that's not low FODMAP. It would have to be a very tiny amount. So that's kind of been a pain not having that. But I have done pretty well introducing well-cooked vegetables that are on the low FODMAP list. And there's an app called Monash, M-O-N-A-S-H, and that's the university, all the researchers for the low FODMAP, the most latest research is all through that. So I keep that. One thing I tried to add a couple months ago was some cooked tomato, obviously no skin, and that really bothered me right away. And this last update on their testing, they had added that as a no, not to eat. So their latest testing does seem very valid. I have one issue with one of the medications, which is called Cholestepol, and it's hard to get, it's back ordered, and the pharmacies get marked out on it. So that is getting switched to a different one online that was called like methionine or something. It's a powder you mix into a liquid to drink. And the pharmacist said it's easy to get, but most people don't like it. And I was like, well, that's not me, because if I could eat dirt, I would, to feel better and to get this stuff under control. So I've become a lot less picky in the last year or so with these issues. Last 5 years I've had issues, and you can go back and watch the old videos if you want the backstory on that and the diagnosis and switching doctors and up until now. But my food journey hasn't changed a whole lot. It's just pretty much well-cooked vegetables. I do eat white rice now, basmati, and rice cakes. I do plain rice cakes a lot, so now I can put something on that. Like, what could I put on that? Maybe a little bit of avocado mashed up. I was eating too many of those for low FODMAP. They recommend, I think it's like a tablespoon or two, and I was having like a whole avocado, because without many choices, of course, I was eating a lot of whatever I was eating. So I could put that on the rice cake, but I try to limit that now. So I do my soup, which I talked about on a previous one. When things flare up, I do the soup, my turkey soup I make. And then I do my smoothies. It's still my main thing I do. I have my smoothie with my protein powder in it. I'm still making like 2 huge cups of that a day. Like cups, like my Vitamix, the big canister, to the top. And I have one I have in the morning, and then one at 3. And I'm a teacher, and we have an aftercare program that lasts till 5:30. So I'll have one of those at 3:30 to get me through the end of the day. And then I pretty much make something on Sunday, either the soup, or now that I can have rice, some rice with cooked carrots and cooked broccoli and some cooked chicken. Sometimes some cooked zucchini, a little bit of sweet potato. Have that. And I have been adding to get a little bit of a type of sauce, some mayonnaise. And what I found around here is if I have the healthier mayonnaise, at least I'm in a real rural area. So when I do go to Fayetteville, Arkansas, which we go there about every other weekend, sometimes I browse Whole Foods, but I see a lot of the healthy mayonnaise have added like garlic powder, onion powder, stuff like that. So I've pretty much just been buying a store brand of mayonnaise that just has a few ingredients and mixing a tiny bit of maple syrup in there and a tiny bit of plain hot sauce that's just made with the cayenne pepper, just like a couple drops of that, and that gives me a good sauce. So that's like a major treat to me. On occasion, I've had a corn tortilla, but I put the same stuff on top of it. I put the rice, I put the chopped up carrots and broccoli, and a little bit of chopped up chicken. I do a little red meat, but not as much. It seems like I have a little more trouble with the red meat. I never have trouble with any type of plain seafood. So I could have shrimp, crab, fish, as much as I want. And plain oysters in the can that are made with olive oil with no seasonings, I have no trouble with any of that. So that's been a great, huge thing. So compared to a year ago, I'm definitely eating a lot more foods. It's just a long journey, and it's frustrating because it's still hard to add things. It seems to me like any type of grain I have, any gluten-free flours, almond flour, any of that, not an instant reaction, but I start feeling pretty crappy if I eat a piece of that like for 3 days in a row. So it does seem real easy if I start just eating anything extra, things flare up. I have to be the most simple ingredients. One thing I started having in the morning that's a big treat is a chai tea, but it's not made with chai. It's made with Celestial, that company, I think it's Celestial Seasonings. Anyway, they make like the sleepy time tea, but they have one called, I think it's apple cinnamon or apple spice. I will put it on my Instagram so you can see it. And I mix it with a creamer I found that's made from coconut milk and a little bit of almond milk. Those two are mixed into the creamer to create a half and half. And that's a creamer I've been putting in that tea with a little tiny bit, like 1 teaspoon of maple syrup. Mix that up, and that has been a major, major treat. It's like I can have a drink in the morning, something that feels special. And I don't really do breakfast ever. I do the smoothie. I had tried eggs. I haven't tried eggs again for a few months. I guess with me, whenever I add new stuff and I think it's going well, when I do have things flare up, I'm afraid of everything. it's like I go back to my go-to stuff I know that is safe, which is my smoothie, my turkey soup. Rice now, I feel like is safe. That's pretty much it. There's not much else I go to. One thing I don't think is the greatest for me, but I have been doing when I took away the applesauce, like to have something right before I go to bed, because I don't sleep well if I'm hungry. I've always had high metabolism, and if I wake up at night, it's really hard for me to go to sleep if I have to get a snack. So I've been doing some plain rice checks with rice milk. Both of those do have added sugar. And I know, like, I was tempted at first to have that more than once a day because it was something I could eat. It was easy. It tastes good. But if I have it very often, meaning more than before I go to bed at night, I do start feeling like crap. So I try not to even have it every day. So I suggest you follow my Instagram, which is not exciting. I only use it for taking nature pictures and posting foods, like a food diary for myself, so I can look back on it and see what kind of things I ate and give myself an idea. One other thing I can eat is black olives or green olives. I usually take out the little pimento of the green olive, but sometimes I don't if it's just too big of a pain because they're small. That's something I can have as a snack too. So if I go like hiking or something, that's something I can put in a little container and easily take with me. So I do cooked white potatoes a lot, or gold potatoes, red potatoes, whatever. Peel them, bake them. I've started on occasion having a very small amount of sour cream and hard cheese, like Parmesan cheese grated on the potato. So that's a huge treat. And that's another thing I could put on a corn tortilla, cook that up. But still just once in a while. I feel like it's really, really hard to tell what causes issues. And if I have all these things I just mentioned, like say I just was like, okay, I'm just not gonna have my smoothie, I'm just gonna have that stuff and eat all these different things I mentioned, because I tried that once for a week, just substituting eating all these things instead of my smoothies, and I felt like crap after a week. I was just back to just feeling like crap, general yucky feeling. And so I went back to limiting more, and I'm doing pretty good with that. So I used to have a bad problem with the rectal itching, and that is a very rare. And when it does happen, it is after I've eaten more things. It seems like if I ever tried a little more sugar, that would happen. But it's definitely less and less now that I know some good things to eat and have stuck to it for such a long period of time. The one big thing, I did make a big mistake a couple months ago, and that was I had made chia seed pudding, which was great. And I just had a recipe. You took coconut milk, chia seeds, and cooked down some blueberries, like fresh or frozen, and add a little water to the blueberries, and not mix the blueberries up, but mix a chia seed and the coconut milk and let it set up, and then put the blueberries on top like a layer. That was great. So I had that every day. Oh my gosh, I was feeling so good eating that every single morning for like 2 weeks. But then I felt so sick and everything went backwards and everything flared up. I have a sore under my tongue that also flares up when I have a flare, like a huge, it's always in the same spot, this lesion under my tongue, and even that flared up, like everything was miserable. Well, I asked my nutritionist, and I forgot she had said to grind the chia seeds. They're so tiny you wouldn't think it would matter, but she had said grind them when I tried that. I totally forgot that. So I haven't tried it again, because that was a few weeks ago. I haven't tried it again, grinding them, but I need to try that again, because that was really good, and it really helped get more magnesium into my diet, which I have a hard time with anything with magnesium. There's one thing I did add in the last few weeks too that I've had no trouble with, and that is the psyllium husk. I get the organic psyllium husk powder off Amazon or wherever, and I have like 1 teaspoon of that mixed in some water in the morning and 1 teaspoon at night. That has definitely helped me bulk things up and help me not running to the bathroom as much. So, but that's when I was feeling kind of brave a few weeks ago when I started that and the chia seed pudding, and I felt so much better, and I was like, oh, you know, I'm so great, and started adding these other things instead of the smoothie. And they were all the things that I thought maybe were okay. Like I mentioned, the tortillas and stuff, and the potato and all that with the little sour cream and stuff. When I have everything at once, everything wasn't going as well. But that was when I felt so confident. I thought I could just kind of be a semi-normal person with my eating again, and it all came to an end when the chia seed problem erupted. So I will try some of those again. I just like feeling good, you know? I felt like crap for 5 years, and really, really crap the last couple years. And so once I can feel good, I want to keep that feeling. But of course, I want to maintain nutrition. Whenever I have peanut butter at all, that was something I was trying to add for magnesium. That caused me a lot of trouble. Made my eczema flare up, severe itching. So I tried to switch to almond butter, and even that's iffy. I'm not sure if I can have it. I'd love to have a nut butter that doesn't make my eczema flare up, because that's another thing. I get real itchy, and that's an issue. So my GI did recommend I see an allergist. I forgot to tell you this. I saw an allergist, went to that appointment, and he was supposed to give me an allergy test, like a scratch test. Well, when he came in, he said, the latest research is most people with eczema, it's not caused by a food allergy. Yes, you could have a food that makes it itch more, but chances are you're going to have all this allergy test, and you might react to some things, but it's probably not a true allergy. And he said it's not true that the eczema cream, that's this steroid cream that people use for eczema, he's like, that does not thin your skin. That's old wives' tale. You need to start using that every single night. Put a lot on it, do a lot of moisturizing, take hot baths, because he said they used to think that flared up eczema, and that's not true. So he's like, I don't want to do allergy testing on you. I think it's a waste. It's just going to stress you out if you have a little reaction to something. And he wasn't worried about that. And so that was kind of a relief, because, you know, I didn't really think it was a food allergy. It just seems like by now they would have figured that out, and I don't have that kind of reaction. He said, if you have a food allergy, you're most likely going to have hives, like that break out immediately, or obviously the breathing issues people have. And things can make eczema flare up all the time, but it doesn't mean it's a food allergy. You just need to treat your eczema and not be afraid to do that, because I had always been told by my primary care doctor not to use a lot of the steroid cream. Could cause you to thin your skin, and I've used it for like 30 years, so I was really nervous about that. And so that was a doctor. I did see that allergist, and didn't, you know, that was the end of that. And I've had less problems with my eczema since doing what he said. But peanut butter was an obvious flare-up for making my eczema flare up. So I just don't have it. It wasn't hives, it wasn't breathing issues, nothing like that. Well, that's my update, and if I think of any more, my Instagram, if you want to follow me, I have it set to private, but I'll accept people, and it's Paleo Hiker, P-A-L-E-O, hiker. I think that's all it is. And all you'll see on there are nature pictures, pretty much of Arkansas, and the foods that I eat. And that's something I would recommend doing. It's an easy way to do it. Just keep your pictures somewhere, and you can just scroll back through when you're looking for an idea of, oh yeah, that made me feel good, or that turned out to be a bad idea. And I don't know, it just makes it easy for me. So good luck. I'm glad some people have commented saying that this is actually helping them, because I just wanted to get it out there because there wasn't much to help me. And there's still not a whole lot about microscopic colitis. But my past videos have a lot more information on my journey. I just want to do a little update here and remind people, have them check for bile acid malabsorption. If anybody would have done that for me sooner, yes, I still have microscopic colitis and those issues, but that was so helpful getting on the medicine for bile acid malabsorption. And it's a medicine you can take for life. So I can maintain my microscopic colitis right now with my diet, as long as I can take medication for that. Oh, and I did try coffee once. I wanted to mention, because that's low FODMAP and a lot of people can tolerate it. No, if I even have half a cup of really good, safe, supposedly safe, decaf even, no. Ruins my day, tears up my stomach. So anyway, that's all I have for you. Sometimes if you comment to me and I see a comment on my email, I'll just go on my normal YouTube profile and reply, and that is Heather Lee. So that's the same person. If you see Heather Lee, that's me replying. I just sometimes don't want to take the time to log into my Microscopic Colitis Matters profile. Anyway, good luck.